Oh, there's the
You
morning.
want to take it from the top?
Good morning. Welcome to our special webinar. A special welcome to our guests from TopHap, and I'll introduce them in just a second. Special shout out to Abe Matar, who I believe is beaming in from Israel. Welcome to the agents. So I'm not going to get into describing TopHap. I'm going to let Anton and Victoria go ahead and do that, but we're really delighted that we have a chance to get some good insight with one of the leading research and analytics companies out there that can aid the real estate business, realtors, brokers, et cetera, in building a business by having just a distinct competitive advantage in the marketplace. Without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Anton and Victoria, and then if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and maybe Gianni can keep an eye on that, and we'll get those questions collected, and then when an opportunity comes, we'll get those inserted. Okay, welcome aboard, and over to you, Anton and Victoria.
Thank you, Mitch. Much appreciated. Thank you for having me, and thanks everybody for making the time. So a little bit about myself. My name is Anton Danilovich. I've been in real estate for the past 18 years. I'm a California licensed broker. 2 years into my career, I did my first flip, and that really took me in a long path of focusing around the investment segment of the industry. Building, developing myself with my partners, working with a lot of other builders and investors, locating projects for them. And throughout this time, I got really good at assessing markets and market dynamics, right? Really understanding where's the best place to buy, when, and what to buy within that region once we've selected it. Really tracking buyer trends, seller trends, and all the other dynamics that really affect property values in the near term. And with that experience, that made me a really good, exceptional agent for my buyers and sellers, because now I could talk to them about a better neighborhood for them to invest their money into if they're going to be living there for 5 or 10 years, and tell them why, right? If they're looking for projects, if they're looking for more upside, whatever it might be, just really focus on the investment side of the transaction. But even then, I was in business at that time around 14, 15 years. I always hit a wall when I try to venture out of my area that I service, right? 5 miles in any direction, things become fuzzy. 10 miles, you might as well be on another planet. And I really thought about our own experience as agents and how we build our market intelligence within markets that we serve. And the only way to do that is by doing deals, right? We get licensed. All of a sudden, we can go ahead and facilitate your customers' most important and more than likely the most expensive transaction of their life without any type of market knowledge. And the reason we did this is because there was no tools to educate us on the market dynamics. And as an agent, matures within the industry 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it's not until 40, 50 deals where you are truly a market expert in your region. And even then, you're very limited by the region that you serve. If you try to go in 5, 10, 15 miles in any direction, you got to start all over again. So, we spend our careers focusing on a small area that we focus on without an ability to expand outward. And even then, our own experience and what we know is based on how many deals we've closed. And that really blew my mind. As an investor, it was really frustrating to be able to get into markets that were more profitable, and or at least from what I heard from other agents and investors, but not have the tools to verify that. So what we did is we built TopHap. TopHap stands for Top Homes and Properties. And what that allows you to do, quickly analyze any neighborhood property within the state of California, all while you're having coffee on your phone. Within 3, 4, 5 minutes, you can really get the gist of the market dynamics within it and be able to understand, and answer any questions yourself or your clients might have. And the way we do this, let me show you. I'll go ahead and share my screen. 1 second. Apologize. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, here we go. So what powers us is we've acquired 30-year historic data for every single parcel in the nation, commercial, residential, agricultural, whatever it might be. And it's tax data, deed data, permit data, hazard information, owner information, school, loans, foreclosures, and more. And I'll show you where all of that lives. And with that data, we've derived our own proprietary data sets. We built out our own valuation models for rental, for property, and soon land. And we were also doing calculations for lot topography, lot slopes, different type of lot characteristics, and other things. So when you come to our site, you're presented with a portal that looks very similar to what you're used to. We have our home search filters right up above. Home results are right here on the left. We've joined majority of the MLSs in the nation. I'm sorry, in California, working on our nation expansion as we speak. We're missing a couple in Humboldt County and Fresno, but everything in the Bay Area, SoCal, and all throughout, you have direct MLS access. Everything is updated, as you can see here on the left, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and whatnot. So, but I'm gonna turn the listings off and I'll show you what our secret sauce is, which is our analytics. The way we display our data in our analytics is in this color gradient, and it goes from light to dark, light yellowish to darker purple. The reason we chose this is because it's colorblind safe, and the darker colors always represent a higher value of whatever layer that you're looking at. So in this case, we have TopHap estimate is turned on, and we can see within the Bay Area where the higher price points are, right? We go here and $5.6 million average. This parts of San Francisco is 4.8. You go to Denver, 1.9. But look what happens when you zoom in, right? The map will readjust and will readjust based on the selection that you're looking at. So in this presentation, I'm going to show you guys how to assess an area that you're not familiar with. And we'll use Danville, Alamo. This is where we're located as an example. So when you first are introduced to a region, you want to understand what do things cost, right? But it's not just about the property value that you're assessing, but the distribution of values within the region, right? Where are the more expensive homes, where are the less expensive homes? And when you dive into that neighborhood, what is the spread of home values within it? Are we looking at a neighborhood where everything is $1 million? Or is there a $1 million to $3 million, variance? So right off the bat, we can see where the more expensive price regions are in Danville here with the darker colors, right? And as I zoom in, look what happens when you get down to the parcel level. Boom, look at that, right? And what you're seeing here is, again, not just the home values themselves, but understanding the characteristic of the neighborhood based on price. We can see that this neighborhood is diverse. We have $2 million homes and we have $3, $4, $5, $6 million homes all around us. So when does this become important? Well, one use case, you have a client that is looking to do a project here, right? And they know that this neighborhood does have $4 and $5 million properties, but they're happy to be looking on this street, right? And right off the bat, you can say, hey, look, if you want to do a $4 or $5 million project, we got to go a little bit north, Now, who knows this type of information, right? This is very detailed type of market intelligence. Well, the seasoned agents there know. Well, now you do, right? By simply looking at the trends and what the colors are doing within any segment that you're assessing. Second thing is the most important is price per square foot. Again, not just what the price per square foot of the subject property is, but what is the spread of the price per square foot variance within the region. Is everything $1,000 a foot, or things go from 500 to 1,000? Again, this is a neighborhood which has a spread between the two. But if we move up to other areas, we can identify regions that are more uniform, right? Like this neighborhood right over here. Another thing you want to obviously assess is how big are these properties? Again, is everything 1,000 square feet, or am I in a neighborhood where things go from 1,000 to 5,000? You can see this is again, very, very diverse as far as the sizes of homes. And then if you want to get into the details of bedroom counts, bathroom counts, lot sizes, all of that here is just one click away, and even lot slope. Take a look at that, right? Why is lot slope important? Well, if you're comparing a 1 acre property to another 1 acre property, or even a 1/4 acre, or more or less, you wanted to understand that the characteristics of the slope are the same, because 1 acre with a 20% slope versus 1 acre with a 1% slope is a completely different type of animal, right? And short of really going to the site and expecting it yourself, there's no other way to find that out. Another thing you want to probably assess is elevation. Are we in the hills, right? You know, where's the topography kind of lead us to when we're taking a look at elevation, and this is the higher points right over here. Age of homes are also very important. You know, again, am I in a community that's very uniform and everything is built around the same time, like right over here? Or am I again going back to this diverse neighborhood where there's older homes and newer homes? Tells a completely different story if you understand that. You know, look at these groupings. Now, let me show you a good example of what that looks like just based on age. It's really interesting. So here we have a close proximity, you know, probably a 1/8 of a mile or so. And look at the different type of characteristics of the streets, right? All of these guys are the same. They're all around 19 years old, right? These guys are 11. These guys are diverse again. So when you're running comparables, you're better understanding which neighborhoods to favor that your comparables are in. Because if everything here is about an 1/8 mile away, right? How do you understand what's a better comparable, right? And you need to really understand the neighborhood characteristics around that. HOA is also another thing, right? Is there an HOA here? Look at that, right? Some of these have them, some neighborhoods don't, right? So where does your subject property fall into? Obvious things like noise levels. You know, if the home is next to a main street, how does the noise affect it, right? Because if the subject property is right next to Stone Valley Road here, and Stone Valley Road is really loud, and it's actually more loud on the right side than the left side, and your comparables is more inland, right? Well, now you can, you know, reduce the estimated value of the subject property because there's a higher noise value associated with it. Walkability is important. You know, if we go ahead and zoom out and take a look at what walkability for this region looks like, you can see the different scores, right? And once we get into the property detail page, I'll show you what all of that really means. Now, another thing, let's zoom out a little bit. Market data. Am I assessing a neighborhood that brings over asking? And if so, by how much? And are things within it selling for 30 days, more or less? You know, what's the time on market? Well, let's take a look. Sold versus list. Let's zoom out and take a look what that looks like in the Bay Area. Everything here in Oakland goes over 7% over, 6%. You go over here in Berkeley, 12, 10, right? You go to Alamo, it's slightly at or under. So parts of San Francisco are all different. And how quickly are things selling? You know, again, here you go. Here's the data, here's the information. You can really assess and see how quickly you should be writing this offer. So when you're sitting with the client, you're setting the right expectation, and you can show them, look, everything is going over in this neighborhood, and it's 15% over, or 16, or 9, right? So you can put the best foot forward and hopefully get that offer accepted. Because as you all know, right, a lot of the buyers need conditioning. You know, in the first 3, 4, 5 offers in a hot market, they're not listening to you. They think they know more. But what happens, something magical happens when you present data versus opinion. And if it's this data backed by your opinion, there's this level of trust and confidence that instantly builds, right? This credibility occurs, and they're more likely to listen to you in your advice. Another thing we've done, let me go back to this house. Actually, before I zoom out, I want to show you something really cool. We've been really tracking this COVID, you know, what's happening in the Bay Area during COVID. Where's everybody going? Not everybody's leaving San Francisco, but if they are, what is that type of a migration looks like? And you can see that with our valuation appreciation layer. So if I zoom out a little bit, here we're looking at home values as of last year. We can see the darker spots and see what their appreciation is year over year versus the lighter spots in San Francisco's negative parts of it. So here you can see where everybody's going, right? Everybody's leaving the city. A lot of people are leaving the city. Now the trend that they say that people are coming back, but you can see where the hot market is. You can take a look at the last 6 months, right? Even the last 1 month, right? So you have this pulse on what's going on within the marketplace today. Because if a client is asking you, hey, look, I want to move within the East Bay area, where should I go? You know, what's the hottest spot there? Or what's the one that's least competitive? Well, you can assess this map and tell them right away, because darker colors are more competitive, lighter colors are less competitive. Let me show you guys our 3D topography tool. Going back to the example of assessing a 1 acre parcel. Maybe your client calls you and say, hey, I found this house. It's 1 acre, you know, but I want to make sure that it's all usable. So let me know if it is, because I don't want to waste my time and go there. Or worse, if you bring him there and he looks at you and says, you know, I want it to be usable and you brought me to a place that's not, you know, thanks a lot. So let's look at our subject property. From this view, everything looks flat, right? But if you hit our 3D topography tool, you select a lot. Now you can have a visual representation of what this lot looks like in 3D. Darker colors, again, representing higher elevation. So when we look at it from the top, we can see that the home is on the flat pad, but we have this valley going down the middle, and the lot really just, you know, slopes up towards each side and towards the back. So it's not as usable as you would have expected it just looking at from an overhead view. And if you want to assess the neighbor's smaller lots to see how usable they are, well, they're smaller, but they're a lot more usable, right? Very interesting. So this also works really well if you're on the hills and you want to understand if a home next to you is looking down at you or you looking down into it. This will show you that. Okay. Now let's go into a property detail page, and I'll show you all the cool stuff that's in here. So what we're doing with this page, it's still in development, and we're adding a lot of new features into it. What we want to bring forward is the insights that are relevant to this property within its neighborhood. So here's what I mean. You have full property details, pictures, right? Property valuation, rental evaluation, last sold price and date. Location details, property details. You can get into the details of interior, exterior, all of the stuff that you're used to seeing, last listing agent. Full lot details, lot elevation, acres, slope, usable space. And here's where the insights come into play. This is the larger lot, the 92% lots in Stone Valley Oaks, which is this neighborhood. Interesting. This shows you what the price per square foot does within this community, which is the orange line, based on the size of the house, which is the gray pillars. And the purple pillar is where our subject property is, and the height of the pillar represents how many homes are within this neighborhood. Lot area, bedroom count, bathroom count, property age. Again, more insights. More bathrooms than 89% of homes in Stone Valley Oaks. More bedrooms. Walkability, car dependent. Noise levels, quiet suburban neighborhood. Hazards, here they are. Neighborhood crime risk, total homes within the neighborhood. Seasonal population, look at that, daily population. In the zip code, 20% of people leave to go work somewhere else. Market conditions, sold properties month over month, active properties, days on market. I mean, everything is here for you to understand the property in the neighborhood that it's in. Months of inventory. This is really neat. This is our improvement calculator. If your client if you know that this property is remodeled, then you can move its condition up to, you know, between equal and superior. Or if your clients want to buy this place and remodel it, you can see what the estimated value for the home is going to be. And if you wanted to add another 500 square feet, same thing, right? Bedroom, bathroom, everything else. Public records, full owner information, you know, property parcel details, all here for you, right at your fingertips. Full school details, full property history going back 20 years, and all of the events that have occurred based on, you know, deed information, permit information, permit types, tax, you know, foreclosure, if any, and loan details. So this page is going to continue to grow, but what we want to do is when you're on the fly and you just type in a property address, a lot of the insights that are derived from our analytics here will be front and center. And then when you come home, you can turn on this platform and do your comprehensive research. The next thing I want to show you guys is our compare mode. So this is different from what you're used to, which is called a CMA. Our CMA module is actually coming within 30 days. So you guys will be able to do our CMA reports on here as well. But what our compare mode allows you to do is compare 20-year historic performance of either properties, zip codes, cities, neighborhoods, and compare them to each other. So a good example of this, if you are assessing two neighborhoods because your client is asking, what neighborhood should I move into? What's going to grow more, in appreciation over time? In order for us to understand where something is going, we really need to understand where it's been. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Here's a neighborhood in Danville. And what you're presented with is a property value graph going back 20 years. We can see the high point before the market crash, July 2006. During the crash, this neighborhood lost 35% of equity. And then after the crash, we've regained 113. We can see how the price per square foot has changed, rental yields, full market, inventory, sold counts, days on market, median prices, and everything else. And then when you go down, you can really take a look at all different attributes that make this neighborhood special, right? Based on area, hazard information, and so on. But here's where it becomes very popular, not popular, amazing, popular for me, is when I'm assessing this, comparing this to another neighborhood in Danville. And this is where if a customer is coming to this area, both the regions have very high expensive homes, and they might be, considering either one, and they want to look to you for advice. So take a look at this. Now we see both value, this is price per square foot curve throughout 20 years, right? We can see the high point was July 2006. Going through April, let's go back here, March 12th, West Side lost 37% of equity, Blackhawk lost 35. But look what happened on the rebound, right? During the crash, they performed the same, but on the rebound, one outgrew the other by 28%. Right? Who has this type of information for you to really assess and understand? It doesn't exist, right? And this is the type of stuff I was always hungry for. And here what we can do is assess 10 neighborhoods, compare a property to its neighborhood, to its zip code, to its city, unlimited amount of information. And soon you'll be able to export this into a nice, beautiful presentation and leave it with your client. Let me go back to the map. So I went through maybe 15% of our features, you guys. As you can see, we have close to 80 different type of layers here, all based on property values, property characteristics, neighborhood, full on suite of hazard details, market, investment, community, schools, and one thing I left out to show you guys what our schools and unique zones, which is neighborhood visualization looks like. Look at this, right? Like this is school designations. Small region, but look how many different school designations there are. So if you're moving into a community, you better understand what school your home belongs to, because here it's many different variations. But what we have coming is our fully detailed property reports, neighborhood reports, school reports, city and zip. All of this will be done within the next 30 days. Our CMA module is being complete as we speak, will also be done within the next 30 days. What you have here as an agent is an ability to invite your customers onto the platform and get them to use it with you. And what that looks like is like this. So if I go into my account and I fill out my broker information and I turn on my branding portal, I save this, okay. When your clients come to the site, they see your information. And what's amazing is they can also share this within their friends and family, who will also see that you're the sponsoring agent. And what we want to do is create this natural, ecosystem within your TopHap branded portal. So your sphere of influence can grow within it, and you can attract like-minded data-driven buyers and sellers, and you guys can collaborate together on this tool. The last thing that we're finishing is we're calling our workplace. This is where you'll be able to save your searches, share your searches, create custom lists. And again, collaborate with your customer on this tool, you know, together. The last thing I'll show you guys is what makes our home search functionality different. So let's say we are looking for homes on the market, price point between, let's say, 3 and 3.5, and we'll do bedroom bathroom counts. Look at that, 2 for sale, right? Jesus, market is rough. But you do know as an agent that those type of homes exist within the community, right? And maybe what you want to do is create a mailing campaign to the homes that fit your buyer's criteria. And the criteria could be very elaborate. It doesn't have to be as simple as this, right? But the tough thing to know is where are these properties located, right? And let me show you what that looks like, what we can show you. So we're going to filter our heat map. Right away, here you go. Here's every single house in the area that you're assessing that fits the selection up above. So you can go ahead and export the addresses, create a marketing campaign, maybe you know, door hangers or mailers or whatever, and get in front of these you know, potential sellers, letting them know you have a buyer and they're interested in the property. So really, really cool stuff to be able to identify specific homes within the area that are off market. Let's see. And obviously you can run comparables by going, you know, solds. Doing specific property types, you know, house again, and everything shows up right here in the map for you. So I think that covers a good amount of it, you guys. And, you know, let me know if you have any questions.
Anton, it's Abe. Thanks, buddy.
Hey,
Great presentation as usual. Very solid product, and I love it, as you know from the beginning. Could you just share a little bit of, if an agent joins, what kind of support you're going to be able to provide in terms of training? Because it is, you know, it's a heavy program and it has a lot of details. So maybe just share in case somebody's intimidated. You're a professional, you know it inside out. But for somebody who's just starting, is that something that, you know, that you can help training or video training, or maybe you want to add something to that effect?
Yeah, absolutely. We can set up ongoing bi-weekly webinars with your organization. And during those 2 weeks, you can always reach out to us direct through the site, and we'll be able to help you one-on-one. So we're really easy to get a hold of. We love talking to all of our customers. That's how we can do that. And this is a comprehensive tool, right? This is the most comprehensive residential real estate tool out there. And that's what we knew we were building. And as any tool, you got to give it a little bit of time, get used to it, get to understand it. But I assure you, within a day or two of just playing around with it, you'll get it. And what we're working on now is we are working on what we call the easy button, right? And we just launched our TopHap Explorer app, which you know, we can go ahead and send everybody an invitation to, which will be the easy version and simple version of what you just saw. So if you're out in the marketplace, you know, roaming around, you take out the app, and what makes this really unique and cool is you can point it at any house, right? Oh, sorry, not working. Here we go. You see how it moves? And if you point it at any house, it pulls up full property details. You hit it, and it pulls out all of the analytics and the insights right here in front of you.
And then can you email those to someone?
Now you can email everything to what makes us really cool. You can copy and paste the link into the email or your text message, and it'll do a snapshot of what you were working on and send it directly to your customer, which is super cool. Oh, and here we go, it pulled up. So it's not working. There we go.
I have a question. So I've been very curious about this recently. The tax records have added a probability of sale, you know, and they rank it, you know, 400 or 600 or 700, like what's, and I was wondering, do you have that, or do you know how they're running that? How do they come up with that number?
So a tax record is coming up with is predicting a sale of a home?
The probability of that house going on the market.
So that happens through assessing what they call life-changing events, right? Mm-hmm. So either age, or maybe there's a divorce filing or a default, So there's a number of things that they track that goes ahead and does that. We're planning to take that a step further and include obviously ownership time, but also whether the property had permits and for how long ago the roof was changed, you know, obvious things like that. And by the way, one of the things we didn't get a chance to review is our full suite of permit details where you can assess permit activity within the platform. So we will get to lead generation features in early next year, which will include the predicting the, you know, potential sales in the neighborhood so you can go after them.
Okay.
So if there, there's some questions here. I can read them off if you guys would like and answer them. Unless you have something else, Carol, you okay? Let's see. So Jeff asked me, Anton, how do your valuations compare to Zillow, Redfin, RPR, and everybody else? So we took a completely different approach in building our valuation model. And I understood as an agent that there's other data that affects the desirability of a neighborhood, right? Obvious things like noise and weather, you know what I mean? But also calculating topography and permit activity and days on market activity and all of the different data points that we've gone over, we include that in our valuation model. The biggest thing that makes us unique is we don't use our list price as a baseline for the valuation estimate. Everybody else does that, okay? So what that means is we're really good at predicting home values for off-market sales, just as the properties that come on the market. So if a home hasn't been sold for 10, 15, 20 years, our estimate on it is really good. And let me show you how transparent we are around showing you guys how accurate our estimates are within any given region. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out really quick. You go to TopHap, let's see, where is it? TopHap estimate value accuracy. Take a look. So we test our accuracy against historic sales, right? Again, the darker colors represent higher accuracy, the lighter ones, lower accuracy. So in the Oakland region, 94%, 92, 90, 95, Piedmont, 99. But look what happens when you zoom in. So you can really see what our test scores were within a specific neighborhood that you're interested in. And what you see is a value of a result of a test that we've done on that sale that occurred in the last 20 years. 100%, 72, right? 90, 88, 99. So when you turn on our valuation layer, you can be really confident that we're pretty on point here, right? But again, as an agent, you might know some things about the property that our model doesn't know, and you know, you will need to adjust accordingly. But that's how our valuation model works. And as far as test results, we are testing 2.6% median error rate in California and about 4.5% average. We started with like 15, so we're getting better and better and better. So next question, does the year build data reflect rebuilds, such as after fire destroyed the home? Yes. So the new year build will be based on the permit. So if it's a project that was turned down to the wall and they left one wall up, the year built remains the same. But if it was completely demolished and the new home was built, that's accurate. How about getting MLS confidential remarks into property details? That has been a really, really big demand. And we are going to go back to our existing MLS relationships, renegotiate our contracts to do that. It will be sometime early next year, but we will work towards it. So you guys will have that ability. Methods of sharing specific screens of data, Glenn, from your platform. As I covered it earlier, you can just copy and paste the link up above and share it, and it'll share with all of the filters turned on and everything else that you did, even zoom layers and selected properties. Once the workspaces are built out, you'll be able to do that within that workspace with your clients, which is really neat. Angie is asking, I have a lot of clients asking about air quality in certain areas. Is there an option to search air quality? So we do have, let me share my screen again. In hazards, we have air pollution index right over here. And if you zoom out, you can see what that looks like. Okay. Oh, here we go. San Francisco national average is 100. San Francisco's over that. And here you can assess air quality. Okay, next question. Are rental rates pulled from the MLS as other sources? Right now, our only source for rentals is from the MLS. We are looking to gather other rental sources so we can have more of a comprehensive, search for rentals on their site.
Hey, Anton,
Yes.
any thoughts as to where those other data feeds for rentals might come from?
Apartments.com is one of them, and so unless, do you have any good ideas? Where do you guys currently go for rentals? Craigslist has always been a popular one.
No, just curious. That would be, we don't, that's not a huge part of the business, but I think it's
helpful to have.
Yeah.
Well, there's if I can chime in. Hi, I do a lot of rentals. Apartments.com is a good source, but there's Zumper. You can do Zillow. Zillow is actually a really good one for rentals as well that you can pull data from.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. So commercial data is coming in towards the end of the year. We're going to start with points of interest, meaning we have data on every single, parcel in the nation at this point. So you'll know where all the restaurants are, Safeway, Starbucks, gyms, and we're including that in our valuation models. How does a Starbucks location affect a property's value? Well, for the most part, it affects it in a positive way. And just adding that data source to our AVM valuation model improved it 0.8%. Next year, we're going to get into commercial sales, but we will start with visualizing all of the commercial data on the site and including that in our valuation estimates. How do you gain access? Go to tophap.com. We'll put together a specific offer for Avenue 8 that I will share with everybody after the meeting. We have a 7-day trial. If you want to extend it, please do. Contact us during that trial with any questions, but it's very simple. Justin De La Cruz, such a powerful tool. How much would its agent could potentially increase their sales performance just by having access to this tool? Well, we have a number of agents that have sent us amazing testimonials of how this has helped them win listings, right? And buyers, because this type of information and market knowledge automatically sets you apart from most of the people that they're talking to, right? Just to be able to step into a listing appointment. For example, we had a new agent with us that was probably licensed for a month, and she got a $3 million listing in a region that she wasn't familiar with, because she was able to go to the listing appointment and have these data points all at her fingertips and actually not sound, but know exactly what she's talking about. Buyers agents love us because the research aspect that could be done on the fly is just instantaneous, right? You can pull up everything about the property, about the neighborhood. So there's a lot of value here that comes with ease to access to data and the simplicity of use. Jeff, fly around feature is so awesome. You're talking about the app. You guys all have to download TopHap Explorer app. And when you type in a property, address, there's a little icon there that allows you to 3D fly around the property so you can see the topography of everything else. So sharing the aerial is cool. How to share while using mobiles? Jeff, another good question. So, you know what? Hold on a second. So on TopHap Explorer, what you can do is there's a share button on the property detail page.
Upper right corner.
Yeah, upper right corner. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we just launched this last week, and it's going through a lot of revisions here. Yep, there we go.
Just found it.
And thanks. And then costs. So we have 3 different pricing tiers, and it's for the level of data that you want to have access to. And it's $15 a month, $50, and then $150. If you prepay for the year, there's an 18% discount, and we will have a further discount for you guys, the organization, to minimize that cost. We'd say about 80% of our agents go for the middle tier, the $50 tier. We really try to just fill it up with as many features as we can. But for more of the investor savvy, individuals, they either start off with $150 tier or ended up upgrading to it. So, and again, once we introduce new features like CMA and everything else we're working on, the prices are not going to increase with that functionality. And before the end of the year, you'll be able to do this type of assessment on any neighborhood in the nation, which is just powerful. You're no longer tied to the neighborhood that you know. You have clients relocating, family members relocating, you're relocating. You can now get a head start on understanding that region, all with TopHap.
Anton, do you have a quick summary of the different tiers and what they include and not include that you can share with the group later? Or if you have now?
Absolutely. If you go to tophap.com and you go to the pricing page, you can see here everything that's here. Because I'm a member, it shows my discounted price because I prepaid for the annual plan. So you can see it's $1145 and $126. This will be revised shortly because we have a lot more features coming in here. So, we've been around for 3.5 years. We did a soft launch last fall, and we're just now getting to what we call our, feature completion for the agent. We've built a visual tool. Now we're building all the shareable features for, reports, saved searches. CMA is coming in. And another thing we're working on that you guys are going to love, every time you put a listing goes on the market, we will auto generate, images and marketing pieces for you to post on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and everything else. So, and after that, we're going to start focusing on leads, and the leads are going to be going to our members, who are subscribing to TopHap, not sold to the highest bidder like everybody else is doing. And that concludes my message.
Anton, one quick question. I was playing around on the app and under location information for a particular property, it's not seeming to pull up the analytics map. Is that a coming soon feature or what?
Yeah, so our goal was with the app is the easy, simple version. The site is the comprehensive, and what we're going to be working on over the next year is merging the two, right? So this first version doesn't have the analytics map, but it's coming in.
Okay.
And what we're going to be focusing on over the next couple of months is really populating the property detail page with as much insights derived from analytics as we can. Again, things like the biggest house in the neighborhood, the only one with the 3-car garage, everything else 2. The slopiest lot, the biggest lot, but with the least usable space. And, neighborhood, this is the best performing neighborhood within the zip code, or the least perform, this is the highest growing and soon to outperform everything else. So things that really help us as agents on the fly will be front and center on the property detail page, and map will eventually become secondary for you to come home to and do your further analysis. So we want to make this as easy for the majority as we possibly can without taking away everything that makes TopHap.
Thank you.
And TopHap stands for Top Homes and Properties. I don't know if I ever mentioned that in the beginning. Everybody always wonders.
So is the app, the app's pretty different than the desktop solution then, right? The Explorer seems to have this fly through, but I'm not sure what else does it have all the analytics in it if I get in deep enough?
The analytics are on the property detail page. They're kind of brought front and center for you. We don't have an option of the map of the heat layers on the app yet, but it's coming. Okay. But what makes the app cool is, when you're walking through the neighborhood and you want to pull up all the information about a property, or you're driving by, you just point at it.
Right.
No more typing in an address, right?
Gotcha. Oh, I see. Okay,
right?
cool. Yeah.
Or if you're inside the house with your client and they say, "Hey, what's going on with your neighbor's house?"
Right. Yeah. That's very useful.
I bet all of you will be sitting at home looking at all your neighbors like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really
I've already done that.
You don't see your own house though.
Question for Carol: what is your affiliation with Compass? We don't have a direct affiliation with Compass. We have a lot of Compass agents that use us. So that's that. Does anybody have any more questions? Well, I mean, I want to thank everybody. And look, the reason we're doing this is because the world around us is changing. I was in the business when Zillow wasn't around, right? So for a client to see all the properties and get access to homes, I have to do that, right? So the value from me was that much more to a consumer. they took that away, right? And there's a lot of technologies that are stepping in that are trying to remove us from the equation. And I truly believe that there will always be a facilitator within the transaction. You're not going to go to court with an app, no matter how good it is. You need a person there representing you. But with that change, the expectations of us as agents is also changing, right? Consumers are smarter and they're looking for a lot more information from us above and beyond a home for sale and what it's listed for. And it's this type of data analytics that we can go ahead and utilize and give them that much more information that they need and they don't have. So, you know, we're really trying to evolve this industry and not see it left behind.
This has been a really fascinating look at the technology, Anton. Thank you so much. Personally, I think the tool is evolutionary. I think it's going to be highly leverageable across our agents and probably across the industry as well. And I wanted to thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Victoria, for helping set up the meeting. And we will follow up with questions. I'm sure everyone will visit the site and look at pricing and that kind of thing, and we'll direct offer questions back to you. So thank you so much again.
This is Victoria, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, Anton. Thank you.